He had nothing, no home, no money, just a dream, and the skill to make it real. Years later, the entire esports world would know his name, Doublelift. Thrown out by his own family, sleeping on friends' couches, but one decision would change everything. That's how the legend of Doublelift began, from having nowhere to sleep to standing under the bright lights of a championship stage. This is the unbelievable rise of Doublelift. He lost everything before he had anything, yet somehow, he became one of the most feared names in esports history. His name is Yiliang Peng, but the world knows him as Doublelift. Born on July 19, 1993, in Mission Viejo, California, he grew up as the middle child in a Chinese-American family. His parents, both immigrants from China, valued discipline, education, and stability, three things that would eventually clash with the unpredictable path he was about to take. From an early age, Peter, as friends called him, was different, quiet, stubborn, and obsessed with video games. He was already setting himself apart from the life his parents imagined for him. In school, Peter was far from the star athlete or the popular kid. He was quiet, reserved, and spent most of his free time in front of a computer screen rather than hanging out at parties. While his grades were decent, they weren't exceptional, and teachers often saw him as someone with potential, but distracted by his passion for gaming. Among classmates, he wasn't exactly the center of attention. Some saw him as shy, others as distant, but those who knew him well understood he had a sharp wit and a competitive edge in everything he did. It was during these years that his love for video games began to outshine everything else in his life. At first, his parents weren't convinced gaming was a real future. When Yiliang asked their permission to travel to Sweden for DreamHack Summer 2011, the Season 1 World Championship, they resisted. They worried he'd be in danger. It was only after his older brother stepped in that Peter finally got their blessing to go. This small victory marked his first real break, not through a win, but by being noticed. At DreamHack, he wasn't just a random player. He stood out enough that George "Hotshot" GG Georgalidis, the founder of Counterlogic Gaming, saw something special in him and invited him to join CLG as a substitute. That moment was more than validation. It was the spark that turned a dream into a path. Suddenly, Peter had a foot in the door of professional esports. Once inside Counterlogic Gaming, Peter's raw talent began to shine. By 2015, CLG secured their first ever NA/LCS championship, and for Doublelift, it was the first major trophy of his young career, a validation of all those nights spent grinding alone at a PC. That victory wasn't just a win, it was a statement. CLG had arrived, and Doublelift had arrived with them. But how did his parents react to this turning point? Though their early skepticism lingered, this moment couldn't be ignored. The same son they once thought was wasting his time had become a champion. It didn't turn their encouragement into cheers overnight, but it planted a seed of recognition. Maybe esports wasn't just a hobby after all. After stepping into the competitive spotlight, Peter's skills quickly set him apart. He wasn't just another rookie trying to prove himself. He was an ADC with an almost obsessive focus on mechanics and precision. Inside Counterlogic Gaming, he began as a substitute, but it didn't take long for him to secure the starting position. Every scrim, every tournament, every match, he was there to win, and his teammates saw that. But success in esports isn't just about raw talent. Peter had a personality that could be polarizing, confident to the point of cocky, often speaking his mind even if it ruffled feathers. Some teammates respected his directness, others found it abrasive, yet there was no denying his work ethic. Hours after practice ended, Peter would still be in front of his monitor, analyzing replays, drilling mechanics, and finding any edge he could get. From local events to major LCS matches, his name started to circulate in the scene. Casters praised his aggressive playstyle, fans loved his flashy outplays, and slowly but surely, he became one of the faces of the NA/LCS. His synergy with his support laners grew, and despite occasional clashes over strategy, most of his teammates understood. Peter wasn't just playing for himself, he was pushing everyone to a higher standard. Was he happy? In his own way, yes, the competition fueled him, and the victories proved he was on the right path. But deep down, he knew this was only the beginning. Bigger stages awaited, bigger rivals were out there, and the hunger to be the best was far from satisfied. While Peter's career in esports was gaining momentum, life at home was far less straightforward. His parents, still holding on to their traditional expectations, didn't fully embrace the idea that their son's success in video games could be a legitimate career. Wins on stage didn't erase years of skepticism overnight. At family dinners, conversations about his matches were rare, and when they did happen, they were cautious, as if his achievements were fragile, temporary. Behind the scenes, this created a strange duality in Peter's life. In the gaming house, he was building a name for himself, earning respect from fans and recognition from the scene. At home, he was still the son who had chosen an unconventional path. The pride his parents felt was quiet, understated, and often hidden behind practical concerns. What happens when this ends? What's your backup plan? His friends, on the other hand, were a different story. They celebrated every big play, every highlight reel moment, watching Watching someone they knew from school now appearing on live streams and esports broadcasts was surreal. They'd message him after games, clip his best moments, and brag to others. Yeah, I know that guy. For Peter, these friendships were a reminder that outside the tension at home, there were people who truly believed in what he was doing. As the seasons passed, Peter's presence in the North American League of Legends scene only grew stronger. With CLG, he became a household name for fans, known for his fearless plays and mechanical consistency. But after years with the same organization, tensions began to build. CLG had given him his start, but Peter's ambition demanded more, bigger challenges, a team that could dominate not just at home, but internationally. In late 2015, that opportunity arrived. Peter made the shocking decision to leave CLG for their greatest rivals, Team Solomid. The move sent shockwaves through the community. Fans debated endlessly, some calling it betrayal, others calling it the smartest career move he could make. With TSM, the expectations were sky high, and Peter thrived under the pressure. Over the next few years, he became a central figure in one of the most dominant eras in NA/LCS history. Championship after championship, playoff MVP titles, and highlight plays that fans still talk about to this day. His synergy with mid laners and supports evolved to near perfection, and TSM's bot lane became one of the most feared in the league. But Peter's hunger didn't stop there. In 2018, he made another career-defining move, joining Team Liquid. This chapter would cement his legacy. With TL, he achieved something no other player had done before: 4 consecutive NA/LCS titles. Analysts debated whether this was the strongest roster NA had ever seen, and Peter was at the center of it all, delivering consistent performances and leading by example on and off the Rift. By now, he wasn't just a pro player, he was an icon. For years, fans had watched him climb from uncertainty and doubt to the absolute peak of competitive League of Legends in North America. The kid who once had no place to call home was now lifting trophy after trophy under the brightest lights the region had to offer. Every era eventually comes to an end. For Peter, the first signs appeared in the years following his unprecedented run with Team Liquid. The competition was evolving, younger talents were entering the scene, and maintaining that same level of dominance became harder with each split. In 2020, after yet another high-pressure season, Peter announced his retirement from professional play. Fans across the world poured out their respect. This was the end of an era. But retirement didn't last long. Later that same year, he returned to Team Solomid, chasing one more title. While his mechanics were still sharp, the game, and the players around him, had changed. After a final stretch of competitive play, Peter stepped away from the pro stage once again, this time for good, or so it seemed. Off the Rift, he embraced streaming and content creation, quickly becoming one of the most watched League of Legends personalities on Twitch. His frank opinions, unfiltered commentary, and willingness to share insights from his career kept him relevant even without the competitive spotlight. As for his family, time had shifted their perspective. The once skeptical parents who questioned his every decision could no longer deny the success their son had achieved. While they may never fully understand the world he dominated, there was now respect, a quiet acknowledgement of everything he had built. Today, Peter Doublelift Ping stands as one of the most accomplished and influential players in North American League of Legends history. From the boy who had nowhere to go to the man who defined a generation of esports, his journey is more than a career. It's proof that even in the most unlikely places, legends can be born.